how are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
So Damian
Hampen.
You are one of the AMG engineers for this fantastic car, which is, let me read the whole thing because it's really long name, right? What is it? Mercedes-AMG C63
SE Performance.
SE Performance, which you were saying we take longer to say the full name that the time it takes to accelerate from 0 to 60, right?
Yeah, we haven't actually tested it, but I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go for a drive here in the Malibu Canyon. So turn on the car if you want. And I wanted to do this because this is very advanced car. I mean, during the technical presentation, you were telling us about how this car. I mean, you have done it in the past, obviously. But this car has taken the Formula One technology into a production car a step further, right?
Yes, exactly. It is a combination of different F1 technologies, actually, starting with the electrified turbocharger. That is a technology directly derived from the Mercedes-AMG F1 team, in combination with our P3 hybrid system, so the battery that features direct cell cooling. It's all derived from the Formula One team.
So for people who watch Formula One sometimes and not experts like myself, so we hear DRS. So is that similar to that a little bit? Is one of the functions of it, or
we don't really have DRS.
DRS stands for draft resistance system, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. So DRS includes aerodynamic measures,
yeah, exactly.
Which we don't have on the car. But on this car, you have the electric motor on the rear axle, and you can basically have an electric boost in addition to the combustion engine. So if you put down your foot on the accelerator pedal, it feels a bit like you're in a Formula One car using DRS.
Okay, let's go out here in the canyons and we test a little bit. Not fair enough because I don't think the roads, I mean, they're fun roads. I mean, like twisties here. Have you driven it here already?
Yes, I've done the short loop yesterday.
Okay,
yeah.
We're gonna do a part of it now. And it's really fun, but again, the car is super advanced. I mean, like, this is what the most powerful 4-cylinder car that you have ever put.
Exactly, yeah, it's the most powerful production 4-cylinder ever built, and then we combined it with the electric motor to have even more power. So the power to weight ratio is unmatched in this segment.
Yeah, and it's at 492 horsepower.
It is 469 from the
69,
engine,
yeah.
And then another 201 from the electric motor on the rear axle.
So that's a combination that probably for most people will be the ideal combination, right? Because you still have the gas engines that everybody loves.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of discussion, people like electric cars or not, or like, I mean, there's politics and all that. But this is the perfect combination, not only for a sports car, but in general, I would say, no? Like combining the hybrid power systems with what you have already in the gas engines.
I totally agree, yeah. Even though the vehicle isn't built for all electric driving, or it's the idea behind it isn't electric driving, but you still can. So when I get up in the morning and like everybody's still asleep, I can drive away all electric, and then as soon as I'm out of the city, have all the power available that only race cars have, basically.
Yeah, so that's because it has also, I mean, it has an electric motor in the rear, right? That's where it is.
Yeah.
And that allows you, I think the EPA numbers here in the States are like 3 miles or something like that, which is not a lot, but like
it's
lets
not a
you
lot.
to do that kind of thing, right?
Exactly, and you can do more than the EPA numbers.
Yeah.
So
I think Mercedes-Benz is always very conservative also in their estimate for electric cars. I've noticed that in the past.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what other technologies or ideas, at least from the Formula One team, are in this car now.
Yeah, so there's a couple of advantages coming from that P3 layout, having the combustion engine in the front and then the electric motor in the rear. Starting with the weight distribution of the car. So obviously the 4-cylinder is lighter than the 8-cylinder of the predecessor, and then we also almost have a perfect weight distribution. So it's like 49% in the front and 51% in the rear, which is also usually only race cars have.
Yeah.
Then when because the two motors act independent from each other, when the transmission does gear changes, we can do something that is called torque filling. So you basically, even though you change gears, you feel no lag in the acceleration whatsoever.
Okay.
And it can also boost in addition to the combustion engine, and that all adds up to this how we say it, the
overall performance,
basically a completely new driving experience.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that electric system that is in the car, you also added new driving modes that weren't before in other AMGs, right?
Yes, so we have 8 driving modes in total now. We have the standard ones like Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, Race Mode. But we also, for example, have an all-electric drive mode.
The one you were explaining before for a few miles.
Or a battery hold drive mode.
And when you're going in electric mode, obviously the driver doesn't feel anything. All the systems work together to make the transition. And the other thing interesting in this car, I mean, it's not new. I mean, Mercedes-Benz had been in other cars, but you have rear steering too. That helps a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have rear wheel steering as a standard, which is beneficial for both. It makes the car more agile as well as more stable, depending on which speed you're at and what you want to do with the car.
Yeah. And that angle changes with the speed. Exactly. Like, for example, in this situation, we're going downhill in a little turn, not very sharp, but it helps to get more.
Yeah, so up until 62 miles an hour, the rear wheels steer in the opposite direction as the front wheels, making the car more agile. And then once you're above 62 miles, they steer in the same direction, which it feels like having a longer wheelbase, and that has a positive effect on the stability of the vehicle.
Yeah. I heard also that the car is a little bit wider and longer than the regular.
Yes, that is true.
C?
So the car in total is longer, and the reason for that this time was that we have a longer wheelbase than the standard Mercedes, in order to be able to drive bigger wheels, basically, which is then again beneficial for traction and ride and handling.
Yeah. So now looking at the new screens and all the technology, that's obviously inherited from all the other regular Mercedes-Benz, but this has special things too, right? Because it's an AMG.
Yes, there are special screens actually everywhere, like in the instrument cluster. The head-up display has AMG specific screens, and then obviously the head unit does as well. So you have the AMG Performance media. This is super interesting in the P3 hybrid because you see the energy flow. Currently we're driving down the hill, so it's recuperating. So the battery at this moment is going, it's at 100%. So in theory, we could drive electric for a little while, right? Yes, we are actually driving all electric.
Oh, really? Without even changing anything?
Yeah.
It does it out of, so it's that smart, the car?
Yes, so in comfort mode, the operating strategy balances the usage of the combustion engine and the electric motor in order to have a very smooth, efficient drive experience.
Yeah. So then we have drive, and what do we see here?
You basically see all the information on the belt-driven starter generator, on the electric motor, and on the electric exhaust gas.
At this point, we're not using the gas engine, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why it's zero everywhere, and you see a negative number here, which means that we're recuperating. Okay. Then you have vehicle, where you see the steering wheel ankle of both front and rear wheels.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah. Well, it's not very pronounced turn, and you don't want to do it.
Exactly.
You don't want to exaggerate it.
But in theory, you can see them. Then what I find really interesting, in order to get a bit more information about the operating strategy, is the engine layout.
Oh, I see. Now we're all in the electric. The blue is electric, obviously.
Exactly. So you see how much power comes from the power and torque. Actually, it comes from the combustion engine and the electric motor. and if you're recuperating or boosting, it gives you all that information. Also the pressure of the boost pressure of the turbo. Then, which I think is also really cool, is
those graphics, man.
the IWC watch. You can also do start-stop.
Oh yes,
like a stopwatch.
Stopwatch, yes.
Yeah, so they have all kinds of different screens available, and they, I mean, as you said, they're like some of them are AMG specific, and it, I think it helps understanding the operating strategy.
So this is a great demonstration on how this electrification era can be beneficial from both sides, because again, you can drive a little bit electric, but then you have the help, the technology to make a sports car even better with that, right? So
yeah,
that would be the argument for people who think, oh, I want a pure ICE car. This is much better.
Yes, I think so. Like the main advantage that everyone can feel right away is its responsiveness. Like the electric engine is right there, and then the electric turbo eliminates the turbo lag, so you have like plenty of power all the time, which is definitely an advantage of the P3 hybrid layout in comparison to a conventional combustion engine.
Well, thank you very much for your time and explaining all this amazing technology, because I don't think I'm smart enough to, I mean, I understand the basics, but like nothing better to get it from the man or one of the people who developed this team. The team is big, I bet, like, right? The whole team that developed this car, how many people work on this?
It's hard to say, but I mean, AMG's grown, and lots of it is because we're on our way from being a car manufacturer to a technology company or a software-driven engineering company. Yeah, so there's been a lot of people working on it, definitely.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Let's keep driving here, and hopefully we don't exceed the speed limit, or at least nobody sees us do it. Thank you very much, David.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.